Hello everybody, my name is Dina, and welcome to Unit 18, Lesson 2, Video Formats and Quality. In the rest of this unit, I'll be talking about the final step in making your video, sharing and exporting. This is more of a general term because people use a couple different terms when referring to this same process. I'd like to point out this fact because so many words used in video editing are interchangeable when used in different contexts. For example, like we referred to in Unit 13, Lesson 1, Vegas's default usage of the term for finishing a video is rendering, while other softwares, like Adobe Premiere, uses the word export, and Final Cut Pro uses the word share. These all refer to the same action, which is to turn your video project into a watchable file that can be opened from just about any computer. This distinction is often overlooked, so when a person who is used to one editing software moves to another, it's very easy to get them confused or mixed up with different functions. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the basics of understanding formats. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Since we are using Vegas here, we're going to use the word render to refer to this process. So when looking at video files and formats, there is never one correct answer. It usually comes down to preference or convenience. Most video editing software out there has the ability to render into all the formats that are available right now. Here, we're just going to be going over the most commonly used ones. First up, we have perhaps the most well-known format there is for video nowadays, which is MP4. This format is the most commonly used because it tends to render into a smaller file size while still retaining most of the video quality. This is important for most people because space is valuable, especially on smaller devices. Rendering into MP4 compresses the video to a smaller size, which is especially convenient considering how we use the internet. Since sharing content online is such a huge part of our lives now, we want to be able to upload a video quickly and for it to be widely available to audiences across all devices. Another reason why MP4 is so commonly used is its compatibility. It is a video format that is recognized across most, if not all, devices in the world right now, regardless of operating systems. This is the main reason why MP4 has become such a popular format across all platforms. You may have also heard of the format MOV. This is the default file format that is used across all Apple devices. It is a format that is specially designed to run with Apple's QuickTime video player, which means that reading and writing MOV files are slightly smoother on an Apple device than it would be on, say, Microsoft. The difference here is that MOV files tend to be a lot larger and retain nearly all of the original quality of your video files. Again, this comes back down to file size and the convenience of having a smaller file in which to play, upload, or download your videos. Speaking of formats and file sizes, let's discuss a video's quality. Video quality affects how clear the image looks. Ever notice how a low quality video can look really blurry? If you're familiar with social media or video sharing websites, like YouTube, you have probably noticed that under quality, you're able to choose between numbers like 360, 480, 720, 1080, or even up to 2160. These numbers represent the pixel density of the video. Here's a super quick overview on what pixels are and what pixel density means. Pixels are basically tiny square dots that make up a digital screen. When put together, they form shapes, images, and basically everything you see on a computer or phone screen. So, inside of any video quality setting, the higher the number, the clearer the picture becomes. This is because those numbers represent the pixel density, which means how many pixels there are on the screen at that moment. This is calculated by multiplying the width and length of the screen, just like how you could calculate the area of a shape. The more you learn about the world, the more you realize math is everywhere. Anyways, the numbers in the video quality setting refer to the shorter side of the frame, which is the height. For example, if we chose the quality 1080p, that means that there are 1920 multiplied by 1080 pixels displayed on screen. Why is it 1920 pixels wide? Well, online video tends to have the same common aspect ratio, which is 16:9. The aspect ratio makes sure the shape of your video doesn't change, so nothing will get cut off or have too much empty space accidentally. Changing the amount of pixels in your settings only affects the quality and not the actual image. The more pixels there are, the more detailed your image will be, and the clearer it will look. So, why is it important to understand video quality? Shouldn't the higher number always mean that your video will look the best? Like we mentioned earlier, there is no right answer to this, and it comes down to your own personal preference and convenience again. The higher the quality you choose to render your project in, the larger the file size will be, because you're basically packing in more little squares into your file. The higher the pixel density, the larger the file will end up. Generally, the best quality to render your videos into is 1080p. This quality is also known as FHD or Full HD, which means full high definition. This means that the video is clear enough to display details, but also not so dense that the file size is too big to manage. Of course, there are other qualities to choose from that are above or below this. If you have super high quality footage from a 4K camera, you might want to render into 2160 to show all that detail from your high-end equipment. Or, on the other hand, if you need to save space or your image is not that complicated, you can choose to render lower than 720, which is called standard definition or SD. Now that we've talked about the basics of formats and quality, let's move on over to Vegas, where I'll be taking you step by step on how to render your video and choose the right settings to match the quality that you are looking for. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!